All right, I'm back. And you read that video title right. Let's talk about that. One, and we're requesting the money for the 2 additional graphics cards that I do not have. All right, so let's start from the beginning so you guys can really understand how this entire scam works. So I guess I should start with, well, my name. Hi, my name is Quentin, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Typically, I talk about cars here. Obviously, today is a little bit of a special exception, but typically, I talk about car content here on YouTube, and I've had a channel for a little over a year. Now, when my channel got monetized, I kind of wanted to celebrate and do something that would help me to better improve the quality of videos. So I kind of set my mind on getting a new GPU. Well, I mean, not new, because if you watch this channel, you know I ain't got new GPU money. So because of that, I pretty much set my mind on getting a 7900 XTX, either an Asus or an ASRock. Now, I actually did try to buy one of these GPUs locally. I messaged the guy, he said yes, and then he never messaged me back. So, you know, your typical Facebook Marketplace interaction.
Bro, I'm sold. When can I come pick it up? Bro, do you want to sell the car or not? I got cash in hand.
And this is pretty much where everything starts to go wrong. So when it came time to actually buy a GPU on eBay, I finally pulled the trigger on a 7900 XTX that was from a seller that had 21 5-star reviews. The description was reasonable. I reversed Google image search the pictures of the GPU. Those pictures were unique. There were really no red flags about this GPU. And so because of that, I stalked this GPU for way too long on eBay, looked at other options, and then finally I sold my old GPU, and I took some of the tiny amount of money that I actually make from YouTube, put it together, and I bought this GPU for $750. The first thing that initially tipped me off that there would be problems was I bought this GPU and an entire week goes by and there's no tracking number. And actually, that kind of created a problem with my channel, because now I've actually sold my old GPU and it's gone. It's down in Tennessee now. So I don't have a way of making videos. I need this GPU from this guy. I reach out to the seller, I message him, I say, hey, there is no tracking number. When can I expect to see this GPU? And he says, I shipped it already. I mean, that's great and all, but can I get the tracking number for that? So he gives me a tracking number, which immediately comes back to a 404. It says no data is found for this tracking number. So I then immediately go back to the seller and say, hey, that tracking number didn't work. And he says, oh, sorry, that was my mistake. That's for a different order. And he gives me a new tracking number that says it is coming on Monday. So it's Monday now, and I'm anxiously anticipating the arrival of my new GPU, and I hear the mail lady. So I run outside, I meet the mail lady at the mailbox, and surprise, there's no package for me. And while that is frustrating, it's not uncommon. I actually do have a lot of packages that will show up in the USPS portal as out for delivery, and then they won't get delivered until the next day. I'm not sure why that happens, but okay, so nothing really out of the ordinary here. Which is what I would say if, 10 minutes later, I didn't get a notification from eBay that my package was delivered. Okay, so I get in the car. I actually found the mail lady again because she was only one street over. Stopped her. She said, nope, I definitely didn't have your package. I showed her the tracking number, and she said I need to come down to the post office. So I come down to the post office. I finally get to talk to the supervisor. He takes all my information, has me wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes goes by. And then he comes back and he says, I hate to tell you this, but you've been scammed. And this is how it happened. Step 1. The first thing the scammer is going to do is make a legitimate looking eBay account and a legitimate looking posting. Now, they can do that in one of 2 ways. One, they could just hack and steal somebody else's eBay account. Or the second way they could do it is basically they could just set up a new eBay account and then fake all the reviews and whatnot, right? Now, it's unclear which of these happened in my situation. The second step is, well, you purchase the item. Real simple there. You buy it. And then the third step is where things really get crazy. So according to the post office supervisor I talked to, not just at one post office, but all 3 local post offices to me, have told me that this is an ongoing issue. The way this scam works completely hinges on the fact that digital marketplaces like eBay, Mercari, and I'm sure there are others out there that do the same thing. These digital marketplaces do not look to see if the package actually made it to your house. What they do is they just look at the tracking data and they look to see was it delivered and was it delivered in the right zip code. Now, to me, that sounds like a really stupid and exploitable process, but that's what everybody in the post office has told me. Various supervisors I've talked to, I called the fraud line, and they all confirmed this is how eBay is determining if a package made it to your doorstep. They just look at the tracking data, and as long as the zip code matches your account zip code and says delivered, they're gonna call it delivered. Now, the post office, they aren't the only people who know about this problem. The scammers know this too. So for step 3 of this scheme, what the scammers do is they actually hack the post office. They hack into the post office's database of tracking numbers, and what they do is they look for a tracking number that is going to be delivered in the same extended zip code as where you live. And then for step 4, pretty much things are automated from that point. eBay, they now have this fraudulent tracking number that was acquired from the scammers / hackers that they got from the post office's database. And all eBay and PayPal are doing is just waiting to see when this package is, quote unquote, delivered. Which then leads us to step 5, which is, well, the scammer's favorite part, because they get paid. With the way PayPal works, they don't get paid if the package isn't delivered. Since the tracking number that eBay has is an actual real tracking number because the hackers / scammers pulled it from a real package, what happens next is that package goes to wherever it was supposed to go just like normal. But because its tracking data is being relayed to eBay, what will happen is eBay / PayPal will release the money. The hacker will get what they always wanted, which was, well, your hard-earned money, and you'll get nothing. So after the postal supervisor explains all of this to me, I immediately get on the phone and call eBay. And even though this whole scam and hacking into the post office thing sounded outlandish to me, surprisingly, the eBay agent had heard of it before. They were familiar with this type of scam. And so they told me that everything would be fine. Just within 3 days, they're going to give the seller time to respond, which they usually don't. Then they'll close his account, and then I will get my money back, and I'm free to roam the galaxy and find another GPU, right? Unfortunately, that's not what happened. After the 3-day investigation period, I received an email from eBay saying that the seller had responded and they provided evidence that I had received this package. The evidence that they provided was a screenshot of the post office or USPS's website saying that this package was delivered to my city and my zip code. Again, notice that this is not my address, just it was delivered to my zip code. So because of that, I ended up back here again at the post office. But this time, the supervisor gave me a little bit more detail about what's going on. And, well, most importantly, he wrote all of this down in a letter that I would be able to give to eBay as evidence. In my specific situation, like I said way back at the beginning of the video, what I ordered was a graphics card, and the dimensions of that box should have been 18 inches by 11 inches, and it should have weighed 4.5 pounds. The item that they duplicated the tracking number from was an envelope. And because it went through the mail sorter, the supervisor actually had a picture of it. It's an envelope that basically could just hold a postcard, and it weighed 0.14 ounces. So basically, I have everything that I need to prove that this package did not come to me. I can clearly see the address is not to my house. There is a signature for this envelope. Somebody signed to receive this package. And anybody with a reasonable functioning brain knows that an enormous GPU is not going to fit inside of a postcard-sized envelope, unless, this man's Doctor Who or something, right? And so at the end of the day, this should be pretty open and shut. This man should be cooked. We should be done here, right? Wrong. So I took all of this new evidence I have from the post office, uploaded that to eBay, and then eBay let me know that since I'm filing an appeal on something that had a final verdict again, it would be up to 7 days before they let me know what the new ruling is.
Many repressed memories later.
So about 6 days after uploading my supplemental evidence to eBay, I got a notification that once again, my claim was
denied.
But as if all of that wasn't bad enough, the hacker then says I'm committing fraud. And basically his claim is that when I didn't get the first one, he then sent me a second and a third one. So now I'm just sitting over here with 3 GPUs he knows I received, and now he wants the additional money for those 2 7900 XTXs that I never received. And so at this point, I've completely lost faith in eBay's buyer protection guarantee. It's very clear that they want to support the hacker and scammer in this situation because they have allowed him to continue saying that he's sending me more GPUs using a fake tracking number that he reused 3 times, and now they're saying that I'm committing fraud and I owe him money for 2 packages I didn't even receive. So I call PayPal and I immediately put a stop payment on that. And then for the 97th time, I come back to the post office again. This time I'm down here to get a letter from the supervisor to say that you cannot duplicate tracking numbers. If the seller had actually shipped, well, he's now saying 3 graphics cards, there would be 3 individual tracking numbers. He would not be able to just send all 3 of them on the same original tracking number, which, remind you, is stolen. So now that PayPal's on the case, the very first thing they do is deny my claim. So I immediately called PayPal after that, and the agent that I got on the phone actually immediately apologized because it sounds like what PayPal does in situations like this is they use AI to determine who the winner of these types of disputes are. Basically, all the AI did was look to see was there a tracking number that backed up the seller's claim, which there was because he used the one fraudulent tracking number and then duplicated it 3 times. And when you click on that tracking number, it says it was delivered. So the AI then thinks that, hey, this package was delivered to him and awarded the seller as the winner of this dispute. So the real person I talked to on the phone basically just started an appeal for me, and I had to resubmit all my stuff again for like the 4th time, and I had to wait again. So 7 days goes by, I get a notification from PayPal that my package is on the way, and it's a new tracking number and it's addressed to me. So it sounds like everything's gonna work out, right? Well, not exactly. The new tracking number that the seller gave was actually from another product I ordered on eBay. So way back in February, I ordered another computer part. The only problem in this situation was he issued me a tracking number and then he didn't actually have the item in stock. So he refunded me the money. But when you look on my USPS portal or the post office portal, you can get online and see what mail you're supposed to get that day. For months, I've just had this tracking number that's just sitting on my portal that says they are awaiting the item from the seller, which they were because they never got it. It was canceled. So very next morning, you know the story pretty much at this point. I go out, I meet the mail person, I ask them, do they have my package? They say they don't. I show them the tracking number. They say they have no idea where this tracking number is. And I go to the post office. The post office looks up this tracking number, and just like I thought, this tracking number was the one that originated all the way back in February. And so the supervisor at the post office, he's actually unclear as to how all of this is happening, how the seller is able to like get in and able to like reappropriate a tracking number that was assigned to me but was never picked up from months ago. And then on top of that, it's almost like they went one step further this time because they didn't just, reuse a tracking number. What they did was they also changed the weight and the dimensions of the package so that it would somewhat seem more believable. Because this time the item that was supposed to come was a manila envelope, which is 8.5 by 11, but is only this thin. It can only hold 10 documents. So not quite A-tier hackers, but they did at least make it not be a postcard this time. And apparently this envelope that is the size of a piece of paper weighs 45 pounds. I don't know. I don't know what type of GPU we're talking about, but apparently this is the most powerful GPU known to man. So hopefully things get straightened out. The last time I talked to PayPal, I told them that I went back to the post office and they actually took everything back from me because they want to investigate this as mail fraud because they aren't sure how the seller is hacking into their system to like dispatch all of these tracking numbers and to change the details of what size the package is and how much it weighs. And so they want to know, is it somebody inside the post office doing this, or are they being hacked? So the post office is now investigating this as a federal crime. And that was the last thing I told PayPal, is that the post office is now wanting to take this over. So if there are any updates before I finally finish this video and upload it, I'll add it at the end. All right, so update. Quite a few things have happened. So straight out the gate, I just want to say this is not like a boycott eBay or boycott PayPal type of video. The reason why I'm making the video is I want to highlight how the scam works so that you guys can protect yourself. And actually things did work out in my favor. So in between filming the voiceover and coming down here, I got an email from PayPal that let me know that I won my appeal. So I got my $750 back. By the time you're watching this, I actually have bought a 7900 XTX, the exact one that I was trying to buy the first time. I bought from a seller that was actually pretty amazing. He put insurance on it. He repasted the GPU, like class A guy. So like I said, this is not to say boycott eBay in its entirety. This is more so to just highlight for eBay that there is fundamental problems with how your platform works. And ultimately, people who are not honest, people who are scammers and hackers, can hide behind the policies that you guys have and can effectively rip your customers off. I think the easiest way to solve this is if a buyer reaches out and says, hey, I didn't get my package, just contact the post office and see where that package was delivered, because the post office had all the information to solve this on the first go around. So it's kind of ridiculous that it just kept going and going and going. And then it felt like eBay was siding with the hacker by continuing to let them claim that they had delivered it and continuing to escalate the situation. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I have to say from, literally sitting outside of the post office. So I'm going to kick it back to me in my dining room. But that's pretty much my story for today. So if you guys actually want to support the channel, you guys know what to do. You can hit the like button, subscribe, hit the join button, become a channel member so that I can recoup all the funds from my stolen GPU. And if you like car content, I actually have 2 car channels. So one of them's Q-Tips. That's more like no nonsense DIY type stuff. But if you want more like vlogs, engine swaps, like crazy projects like putting a BMW E46 differential in my BMW E60, subscribe. And if you like makeup, subscribe to my wife's channel. She's pretty legit. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all that I have for today. I will see you guys in the next one. I think the easiest way for you guys to solve this problem is if a buyer reaches out and says, hey, that's a really loud motorcycle.